breaking up the core four. Look, I want it to work in Detroit. I want them to build something organically. I want them to have Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Duran, Sasser, Sar Thompson. I want them all to play their careers in Detroit for a very long time. I want them to build something like Oklahoma City or the Golden State Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs or the Pistons of the 80s, where building through the draft, getting these young players. But unfortunately, Troy Weaver I felt like he kept swinging for the fences. I don't feel like he went for fit and wanted to build around Cade Cunningham. I felt like he was just trying so desperately to find another all-star and just say, hey, look how many guys I found, and then do that. Instead of like those other teams I mentioned, finding and identifying the franchise player and then building the team around them and finding the right players that fit their game. Just didn't happen in Detroit. And I think it would be very wise for the Detroit Pistons to break up that core four and finally take this rebuild seriously and start building around Cade Cunningham, who can, I believe, deliver us to the playoffs. Not even a championship. I just want to get to the playoffs and be a part of that atmosphere again. And I believe Cade can do it if you put the right players around him. So I am advocating for breaking up the core and breaking up these young players in order to do that.
You have to, with winning 14 games. Something's got to go. Like something's got to change within this roster. And plus too, with trade value with these guys, they're not horrible players. I think they're just in bad situations. As you said, like we're drafting to find just random all-stars, and we are drafting to provide a type of team that is built around one player that is our guy. And it's really unfortunate to see that, like, I know Weaver found a diamond in the rough at the number 1 overall pick. Like, oh yeah, boy, it's really stupid. But I couldn't be more. You couldn't be more right with talking about building a team and not building it to be successful, but building it to maybe improve a resume. And it's not working out too well for the guy. But this draft with Trajan Langdon leading it, I think it'll tell us a lot of what we're going to be in store for the next couple of years with the mentality of how we're going to draft, whether it's going to be draft pieces or draft projects or draft all-stars. And we're going to find that out very soon.
I feel like Troy Weaver, and I was excited about this when I first thought about it a few drafts ago. I felt like Troy Weaver was trying to build his version of the Oklahoma City Thunder in Detroit, where you have your James Harden type in Cade Cunningham, the guy that not the most athletic on the floor, but can do a little bit of everything. You've found your uber athletic guard in Jaden Ivey. That's the Russell Westbrook. Now you found your Serge Ibaka type that, unfortunately, he's not the defender Serge Ibaka was in Jalen Duren. And then you found your Nick Collison type in Isaiah Stewart, even though that wasn't Troy Weaver, and Sam Presti. That was a few seasons even before Kevin Durant. But you were missing that generational, we've never seen this guy before. Holy crap, he's a 7-footer and he can play like a guard, and Kevin Durant. But they were probably banking on getting Victor Wembanyama and completing the whole Oklahoma City process in Detroit, and it just didn't happen. Instead, I felt like Troy Weaver could have gone for fit. I felt like it's really hard for me to say, because when I look at Jaden Ivey, I look at a guy where, like, if it all works out, he could probably be the 1 or 2 guys on a team that you could actually build around if it works out that way in his career. And I feel like that's what Troy Weaver is doing, where it felt like you had Cade Cunningham. You saw, even in just like, I think like 82 games in his first 2 seasons, I think that's how many he played. You kind of saw what you had, and you probably could have gone Benedict Mathurin at number 5, where you saw how his game fit with the Cade Cunningham, but it just didn't happen. It was just, I don't know. It's just so weird. I keep talking about it. I still can't find the words to describe his draft process with this team. But either way, the puzzle pieces don't fit.
I don't think there's really a process. I think he just reaches into like some type of hat and is like, hey, I like these 4. I'm just going to I'm just going to pick one, and that's what we're going to do. And then all the scouts are like, "What is he doing?" He's like, "This is what he does. This is how he cooks. He just puts his name. He sucks, man. We got to do something different. I hope he's gone by the time this draft comes to. I hope he's gone, and I hope Trajan starts to do what he wants to do. I don't think with draft history with Troy Weaver, I don't think he's going to make it to that point. Fingers crossed. But I think it's time for a little bit of change and a little bit of different script other than what we've been dealing with the last couple of years. I mean, I know we've talked about that he kind of got screwed on draft picks with picking fifth for 3 years and 3 years running, but that still doesn't give you the right to tank your team the way that it happened. So I'm not sure what we're going to be into for this draft, but I just hope it's just not a Weaver circus that we have to just deal with again for a whole nother year.